Advanced English Arabic Learning Session 114. Sleep apnea is a potentially serious sleep disorder. They beseeched him to stay. The investiture of bishops. I prayed that she would intercede for us. The bureaucratic inertia of the various tiers of government. A khaki uniform with colonel's insignia on the collar. Entering into marriage with a partner who has hefty debt is definitely a deal breaker. No good deed goes unpunished. He had a shifty look about him. A vain attempt to tidy up the room. One of my students is a real pain in the neck. The dreary round of working, eating, and trying to sleep. Joanna had a tiff with her boyfriend. Investors seemed underwhelmed by the company's turnaround plan. She became Empress of France. We had a fairly long joust on this matter of principle. He gets oppressed minions like me to fob them off. Don't let him fob you off with any more excuses. She wouldn't be fobbed off this time. They wantonly destroyed property. Terran alias is a Latin expression meaning nobody's land. I felt so wretched because I thought I might never see you again. The wretched conditions of the slums. She disliked the wretched man intensely. Fraternizing with the enemy. A preemptive measure against inflation. They decided to launch a preemptive strike. She had a bit of grit in her eye. I've known few men who could match Maud's grit. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty of finding a job. Starting your own business can be very tough, but you just have to grit your teeth and keep working at it. She grits her teeth and rolls her eyes skyward. She wanted to forego the tea and leave while they could. We forego any comparison between the two men. We landed and deplaned. I'd advise you not to take her for a fool. She may play dumb, but she's very crafty. Reg is such a square. Their doubts were blown away. Her generosity just blew us away. You're right there. When I got there I was absolutely buggered. Adam has a buggered arm. Officials expressed doubts concerning the veracity of the story. The validity and veracity of online advertisements. Voters should be concerned about his veracity and character. Home soon. As for the andropause, there are no agreed set of symptoms or identifiable changes. She has turned into a virtual recluse. He is a millionaire recluse who refuses to give interviews. He lives a reclusive life in a secluded home. She's becoming increasingly reclusive. Flooding disrupted rail services. Pythagorean theorem. She felt tired and achy. 3 people were also accused of engaging in espionage against her rival firm. These are my picks for the best Audacity courses. His views are highly subjective. As a student advisor, she gets a monthly stipend from the college. She wore her dark hair in plaits. Her hair had been plaited and coiled at the back of her head. Politics are beyond my ken. Most frost-bitten tissues will blister. I won't be long. The contractor had lowballed us on the cost of materials. Management lowballed him in contract negotiations. Loose lips sink ships. The project is bankrolled by wealthy expatriates. Eyes on the prize. I am going to make national news headlines and go out in a blaze of glory. He made it clear that he wanted to go out in a blaze of glory. You probably won't go out in a blaze of glory. I am slammed. Law firms hired by both companies racked up thousands of billable hours. Sweet pea seed can be sown in May. We often quarrel, but we always make it up soon after. They kissed and made up, as usual. He accused the man of making a move on his girlfriend. He was granted an intermission in his studies. I will grant you an intermission. Your wish is my command. He and his government were lurching towards an angry showdown with their critics. The two contenders for the World Championship will meet for a showdown next month. Tonsillitis is most often caused by common viruses. Tonsillitis is inflammation of the tonsils. A tonsillectomy is a common procedure to treat infection and inflammation of the tonsils. He is admired for his refusal to knuckle under. What's shaking? Slang, what is happening, what's up? A strawberry is a multiple fruit which consists of many fruits embedded in a fleshy receptacle. Contraindications for this drug include liver or kidney impairment. We decided to mosey on up to Montgomery. I'll just have a mosey round. Ersatz emotion. Snide remarks about my mother. The word was spoken with gently teasing mimicry. They are working to change hidebound corporate cultures. Lydia ignored his asinine remark. She should be magnanimous in victory. Look at the bling he's already wearing on his left arm. The city reaches gridlock during peak hours. A soldier belonging to an infantry regiment. The Infant Labor Party. A cream turtleneck sweater. She wore a fake fur coat, big sunglasses, and lots of bling. The club folded earlier this year. The house lay in a fold of the hills. 3 stores on Main Street have folded up. A beam engine of Brobdingnagian proportions. Her low mellifluous voice. That sort of talk gave Jimmy the pip. I was pipped at the post in the men's finals. Isn't she a pip? The text was preserved, probably on papyrus. At last I saw the archangel in all his glory. I work in pharmaceutical validation. In layman's terms, this means I help test equipment. A mystery crying out for investigation. You, hitherto, have still had goodness sphered within your eyes. Such ambitious questions have long tantalized the world's best thinkers. The etymology of the word devil. Ever more fanciful proposals were raised. Fanciful lunar inhabitants. Latecomers were not admitted before the interval. Don't worry. I've got your back. No red meat, my family are pescatarians. Their employers issued an ultimatum demanding an immediate return to work. She plays on the Powderpuff Touch football team. The intellectual divertissements of working men. A nightmarish vision of the future. She was declared a witch and ostracized by the villagers. He was the most asinine person that I have ever met. Some loved her, some hated her, few were ambivalent about her. He has an ambivalent relationship with his family. Military regimes generally have no qualms about controlling the press. The Asians are an inscrutable folk. I have an eidetic memory. Jack was not averse to an occasional dalliance with a pretty girl. Berkeley was my last dalliance with the education system. Pun intended. There was no pun intended. He gave them a blow-by-blow account of your rescue. Don't harsh my mellow. Don't be such a buzzkill. He's harshing my buzz. To keep the peace, she nodded meekly and smiled. I am breaking in new shoes. Bystanders were leering at the nude painting. I am putting you on speakerphone. These summits are merely empty gab fests. Tea and hot scones are always served on arrival. The logic used to arrive at this conclusion befuddles me. Even in my befuddled state I could see that they meant trouble. We argue and fight and talk smack to each other. Nobody is immune to rookie mistakes. A rookie cop. An elegy on his death was published by William. I thought it right to apprise Chris of what had happened. His saturnine face and watchful eyes. The ignominy of being imprisoned. A stolid bourgeois man. Adolescents preening in their bedroom mirrors. May I venture to add a few comments? The end. Coming next. Session 115.